What's up, everybody? Welcome to the stream. Welcome to the stream. Hey, we're only like 5 minutes late. I think that's pretty good considering how long we've been gone. Pretty smooth. Get the chair set right. Okay. Yeah, got it. Okay. Welcome back to the stream. Huh. Did you guys have fun? Did you guys get up to anything while we were gone? Let's catch up. Oh, it's good to be back. I think I remember how to do this. Oh, Blunty, I'm hearing the boop boop. Did you guys hear the boop boop? It's not muted. Is it not muted? Unmute site. The site is muted. Where did that come from? Where did that's got to stop. Where is that coming from? Not only is the tab muted, the tab is
volume mixer. Open Windows Volume Mixer to have a little pop up.
Smart. Sound mixer options. No. I just want the mixer. Not sound mixer options. Oh, stop it. Oh. Open volume
If you
mixer.
right click on the speaker.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's see. Discord. There are two Discord that are open. Okay, now do it again. It's got to be Discord. It's not Discord. What is it? Is it Chrome? Do it again. It's not Chrome. The fuck? None of it. None of them are doing it. The fuck? Look, they're not. It's not. It's not doing it at all.
Does it actually do it on that page, or
what page?
Well, there's normally a mixer you can pull up in the bottom right. Can you still do that, or did they get rid of that?
Well, that's this. That's, so right click, open volume mixer. Right?
Oh, gotcha. It
That's
used to have the little bars that go up and down.
What's that?
It used to have the little bars that go
Yeah,
up and down.
no, that's just the old way that it used to look. Okay, keep talking, Blenty.
Okay.
Okay. Can I hear you now?
Hello, it's me talking.
Yeah, okay. How about now?
Hello, it's me talking.
Okay.
Hello, it's me talking.
I've muted this other one. Now let's see if that, now send a boop boop. No, they're not, it's not doing. Why would it be doing that though? I don't know. Anyway, yay, here we are. We'll get back to it. We'll get back to it. We'll get it working right. Oh, oh, there I am. There I am. Okay, okay. Got it. We'll get this. We're back. I don't want you guys listening to that for the whole stream. Oh. Yeah. What have I been up to? What have I been up to? Well, here's a fun thing I did recently. No, it's not just pictures of me on vacation. I went to see the Backrooms movie. So now all of my YouTube content is Backrooms content, if you're curious about that. Very much enjoyed the Backrooms movie. Even though I'm not a Backrooms fanatic per se. This is only videos that I have published. So here's the thing I figured out. I figured out how to get... We don't need the sound. iNav has a thing called System in the Loop, or Hardware in the Loop, HITL. And basically what it lets you do is you plug an iNav... where's the quality? Video quality? YouTube quality? Let me get good quality here. It lets you plug an iNav flight controller. There we go. Plug an iNav flight controller into your computer, and then you run this simulator. It's actually an airplane simulator, and it's like a highly realistic airplane simulator. Like people build full cockpits for it. It's called X-Plane, and it's actually supposed to be like there's a version of X-Plane that's used for professional real pilot training. But X-Plane has a plugin that someone developed and lets it interface with your iNav flight controller. So what you're seeing is iNav running inside X-Plane. And I've always wanted to be able to... I've always thought that was cool because it would let you do things like... what I did was I made a series of videos. It's currently up to 5 videos that'll be releasing probably this week about iNav waypoints. Like there's all these settings in iNav for setting up waypoint missions, and I don't understand what they do. And so you can see as I bring up that little sub window, you can see in that sub window where the iNav waypoint is, and then you can see your actual flight track, and you can see how the flight controller will behave relative to all these settings. Which is difficult to do in real life. Number one, just because it takes time to set up a real life flight mission. And number two, it's not always obvious in real life where the aircraft is relative to the waypoint. Like, what is it doing? I even got it to fly under this bridge, which I was pretty proud of. So I created this waypoint mission. And I decided I would try to make it fly down this river as accurately as I could. Fly down this simulated river and like not hit either side and figure out all of the altitude and everything. So I'm kind of proud of that, just because it took me like a whole day to get System in the Loop working. Not just System in the Loop, it took me maybe half a day to get System in the Loop working, which you're like, oh, it shouldn't be that complicated. Well, it was, at least for me. And then I spent a lot of time trying to get these upgraded ground textures so it looks more realistic, get that working, and anyway. So I got this waypoint mission where we fly down this river. You see how it kind of blew out that waypoint? Like, I just wanted to learn about how all that worked. I don't know if anybody recognizes this at all. Anybody recognize this? I don't know. Maybe like, oh, I know where that is. Let's see how long it takes you to figure out where that is in the world. See if it's recognizable to anybody. Probably not. Blunty, you looking at the chat? Anybody guessed where it is yet? Probably not. Oh. Coming up on a recognizable landmark pretty soon. Oh, here it comes. Here comes a recognizable landmark. Okay. So I set up this waypoint mission, just flying down the river over a... Oh, we're going to go underneath this bridge. I was pretty cool. I thought that was pretty cool. Now, in real life, you don't know where the bridge pylons actually are. I wouldn't trust a waypoint mission to successfully fly under a bridge. Not just based on the sim. I would have to test it out first. What I've found is that you can get about 2 meter precision, at least with regards to altitude, with iNav in most cases. Sorry, Blunty, were you about to say something?
We've got the Hudson. That's the
Not
first
the
guess.
Hudson. Good guess. It's the Potomac.
Austin, Texas.
It's the Potomac.
Austin, Texas. Second guess.
Yeah.
Washington,
Washington D.C. Yeah. Well, now it's easy. We got the what is that? The fucking that monument. Which monument? What monument is that? The big spiky one, but outside of the reflecting pool. What's that? I'm blanking on the name for that. It's not the Lincoln Monument. That's what my brain keeps telling me it is, and now that's all I can think of. This one. What's that one? What's that thing?
The Washington Monument?
Is that the Washington Monument? Fair enough.
I think so.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Yeah, so we do a nice little flight over around by the Washington Monument? Yep. Yeah. I thought, wouldn't it be fun if you did a little autonomous flight down the Potomac over the reflecting pool recently repainted, past the Washington Monument? Just a little autonomous flight. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, so I set up these waypoints. I had the aircraft do a little autonomous flight. What is it doing now? Where is it? Stop. Where are you going? I don't know what it's doing now. That's really weird. Oh, it's descending. Huh. Oh, I hope it doesn't crash. Anyway, I was like, oh, that could crack me up. It cracked me up. Definitely. That's definitely restricted airspace. I'm willing to bet that you would not successfully complete that flight in real life. If you did, somebody's going to get fired. Anyway, so well, that's what I've been up to. Nothing special. Oh my goodness. All right, well, we're going to take questions. Yeah, that whole thing is a NOTAM. The other fun thing, here's the thing. So I was like, okay, we're in the simulator. The whole point of the simulator is that you can do things that you would never do in real life. All right, so like, okay, what would I do if I was like, okay, well, let's see if we can do an autonomous flight down the Potomac right to the White House. And then I thought, okay, well, if you were to do that, where would you launch from? Right? Like, I don't know. I started looking, like, where would you launch from? Like, maybe you could launch from here, You'd want to launch from somewhere. But I was like, okay, I want to fly down the Potomac. That's like to test the waypoint, your ability to make waypoints. So I want to fly down the Potomac, and then I want to get to like right about here, and then hook left, and then fly over the White House. So I started going up the river, trying to look for a place to launch up the river. And I get to a nice wide spot in the river with a great big green area right here. Oh, this looks pretty unpopulated. I was like, yeah, that's a great place to... Oh my God! And then I was like, yeah, obviously that's where I'm going to launch from. Oh, it's just like Kennedy all over again. Oh, man. Yeah, so, that's what happened. That's what I did on my vacation. Anyway. Okay. Let's get into the stream. Good to be back, guys. Yeah, if I disappear, that's where I went. That's where what did you do while you were gone for like 7 weeks? Just nothing special. I can't say out loud, otherwise this stream will get attention it shouldn't get. Hey, JB. Yeah, Blunty?
Well, I was going to say, before we take the first question,
oh, yeah.
Do you want a quick since we're talking about places you can't fly, do we want
Yeah.
to quickly tell people about the TFR situation for the World Cup? Just
yeah,
maybe we'll get
absolutely.
5 people that don't know about it.
When is the World
I put
Cup?
the links
Is that already
in the
happened?
Livestream chat. It's happening. Yes.
Yeah, okay. Well, I got the FAA.gov right here. Is that one of the links? Let's see
Yes.
here. So so the takeaway from this is that Blunty, I can't do anything with the comments, the chat comments. I'm going to give you a different comment. There you go. So now, hopefully, that will make a little tag in your timeline.
Gotcha.
That you used. Yeah, I did start that, by the way. Okay, here we go. FAA establishes no drone zones for FIFA World Cup 2026 stadiums, fan events, and base camps. It shouldn't surprise many of us that the FAA has established no-fly zones around major sporting events. That's actually pretty standard. So, for example, if the Super Bowl, the World Series is happening, there'll be a no-fly zone within a certain radius of it. And if you put a drone up inside that, then you'll be breaking the rules and you'll potentially get in trouble. What's interesting about this one is that they've established these no-fly zones for all stadiums. Sure, makes sense. A stadium full of thousands and thousands of people makes sense. But also for basically everywhere that all of the hotels that they're staying in, like everywhere anyone involved with the World Cup is a no drone zone. 3 nautical miles. So let's see, Blunty, you put in the Discord. So
Yeah, the second link is probably the one you want, just so you can see.
Yeah, here's the second link.
The locations on the map.
That's the second link, right? TFR web. That's what I'm looking
Yep.
for. There we go. So here it is on a map. By the way, cool that this map exists. You see a map of TFRs. I can't see anything. It's not loading.
Loading for me. Interesting.
That's weird. Let's try reloading the page. Oh, there we go.
There we go.
So these are current TFRs in the U.S., basically. Is that right?
Yeah, and the easiest place to look is like just for instance over Dallas. You can zoom in and see that giant pocket over Dallas. Right.
Yeah.
All those are like most of those small TFRs there are all from the World Cup TFR.
Right. These you can see the ones that look like they're about 3 miles. Right. So the point is, well, number one, you could argue, this is overreach. This is too many TFRs. Okay, well, good luck with that. Go beat your head against the wall if you prefer. Maybe, But number two, you may be in a TFR and not know it. Like if you live up here in Frisco, you're probably used to not being in a TFR and being able to fly without an issue. And now you would be in a TFR. So F you.
Yes. The other thing to know about these is these are, this started June 1st and will go to July 20th. So these will be around for another month. So that's part of why we want to let you know about the other thing is these are new TFRs. So we've had previous TFR language. This is very standard NOTAM TFR language, okay? Where, you can't fly in an area, everybody needs approval, all that kind of stuff, okay? This is new language. This language says, which I will say, number one, so there's some good moves in here, okay? The first thing is first responders do not need to worry about this TFR, basically. This is the first time they've ever put out TFRs that allow first responders to just do what they need to do.
Instead of explicitly asking for a waiver.
Correct. So let's say an emergency happens in a TFR. Normally you have to get approval to do a rescue mission or bring a drone into that area under a TFR. Now, these TFRs are just labeled such that if you need to get in there and you're part of the defense, homeland security, law enforcement, firefighting, search and rescue, anybody, you can just go in the TFR without approval. I think that's great because that's just helping things. I know it can get law enforcement in there when you don't want to maybe or something like that. But I think generally speaking, it's good to let public safety do the public safety job they need to do. And I know personally first responders who are very happy about this because it helps them do their job,
Sure.
Another one is that basically 107 operators can submit to be allowed to fly in these areas. This is new. Typically, it's like basically, no, you can't come here. And if you, in a very crazy specific set of circumstances, you could be allowed to fly. Now there is a proper submittal form service for this, where if you let them know 72 hours prior, you can fly in a TFR. This is new. It's never happened before.
That presumes that you're going to get the waiver, which it says at least 72 hours. That may take them. I mean, do you know anyone who's gotten one approved? It could take 30 days for them to approve it, and it's too late. Like that's possible, been the case with some waivers in the past.
Right, but previously this system did not exist.
If there was a TFR, fuck you.
Right, unless you got some crazy stuff going on, you can just wait until the TFR is over and figure it out. You know, like you don't need to fly here, basically is what they would say. And now it's like, hey, if you got work to do here, if you, whatever needs to happen,
well,
they
probably realize that a lot of drone related professionals will be covering the, what is it? The World Series, the Cup, the Grand Cup, the World Cup.
Yeah. World
Cup. The soccer, them soccer games. And, you know, but to which I say, duh, but also kudos to them, because certainly there was a time and a place where they would not have recognized that and would have been just like, F you, don't fly. Right. So yes, duh, but also thank God.
But but I will say, on another hand, this is also like both of these things, both the first responder situation and the 107 situation, only really need to happen because we have crazy overreaching TFRs that last 2 months.
Right. Instead of a TFR, like the question would be, okay, it's Super Bowl Sunday, and by the way, that's my line. I do know that the Super Bowl is held on a Sunday, but I will forget the name of the World Cup. Sorry, fuck you, soccer. It's Super Bowl Sunday. We're going to have a TFR the day of the game, right? Around the stadium, 3 nautical miles. Yeah, all right. I guess that makes sense. But to say this law, you know, it's the Olympics, and so we're going to have a 2-month TFR around everywhere the athletes might be for the whole time they might theoretically be there. It's like, really? You think? Right?
Yes. So yeah, those two things, you know, those two reasons are basically that. But there's also a third thing about these TFRs. Okay. This is basically a 3-point TFR, and the third one, if you can pull up, if you go to that TFR map again and you click on one of the 3 miles, one of the smaller ones, and then do detail, you should be able to see the actual TFR documentation. Yeah. So if you look at numbers, letter C there. This is new.
UAS operators who do not comply. Go ahead, Blinty.
Basically, this says, hey, we can take your drone out of the air if we want to. And that's new. You know, UAS have been aircraft, and previously aircraft have not been able to be removed from the airspace without very crazy permission. Well, now they have basically formalized a system for local and federal to handle drones, and now they are allowed to take you out of the air if they deem you a security threat if you're flying in a TFR. That's new. That's again another third part of a new piece of language here. So please be aware that this is happening. It may pop up near you. There are some shorter ones too, but a lot of them are from like June 1st or June 9th to July 21st. But there are also shorter ones that will pop up. Please check near you. It may be a player hotel, so it may make no sense, right? You're like, oh, why is there a TFR in this little spot? And it's just important to note that
you don't know where the athletes are staying.
Correct. You can't just say like, I'm not near a stadium. That doesn't necessarily apply right now.
Yeah. And you know, like hypothetically, the way something like this would happen is someone from the FAA would reach out to someone at the World Cup, some logistical person, and they'd be like, hey, we need a list of all the hotels your athletes are staying at. And there would just be a mailing list, and there would be a bunch of logistical coordinators, one from every team or something, and everybody would just send in where they're staying or something like that, right? And then basically just anything that was on that list, boom, would just be added to the TFR. Like, there doesn't have to be any rhyme or reason to it. No one is like cross-checking this stuff. Just someone said, hey, we need to make a TFR for everywhere the athletes are going to be, and then they were like, hey, where are you going to be? I don't know for a fact that's exactly how it went, but that's how this kind of thing might go. So don't expect there to be any like rhyme or reason to it, except that probably once upon a time someone said that's where they would be. So anyway, more important than ever to check your apps. The one that I like to use is Autopilot. I don't remember why I landed on this one, but this is the one I landed on recently, and it works pretty well. Autopilot is a web version apparently, which I actually have never used. But can I just? No. Can I just? Okay, I do have a subscription to this for what it's worth. Yes. Okay, shut up. But basically, what you can do, I am definitely not in Boyer. Where the hell do you think I am? Is my VPN going? Weird. Anyway, yeah. So you just click on the map, and it shows you right here any rules that apply to your area. Works really. I mean, I've found it to work really well. If we go over here to Texas, good old Texas. See, there's additional things marked here, which is the airspace, which that was just TFRs. But here, if we click here, we can see, right? Lance approval, scheduled airspace, yada, yada, yada. And basically just gives you a list of all the things that apply here. Do not fly, TFR, right? And you could just, it's very trivial to pull this up and just see if you're in a no-fly zone before you fly. It gives you a lot of very granular information, including the height of the grid, the ceiling at the grid. So here's a 200-foot ceiling. You can get Lance authorization up to 200 feet. Awesome. And it's super, super easy to get Lance authorization through the app. Here is a 0-foot grid. If you're within here, do not fly. You're too close to the airport, etc., etc. It's a situation where even if you elect to break a rule, which, we're all grown-ups and sometimes people do things that I like to make the analogy that, everybody who drives a car has probably gone, 58 in a 55, or even 60 in a 55, right? So it's a case where you want to know what rule you're breaking, theoretically, and how serious the repercussions might be. So always check before you fly. It's a good idea.
Also, I just want to let you know, again, I know people who will work in first responder, law enforcement, etc., who are doing this drone stuff, okay? You need to know that it doesn't matter what drone you're flying, they know where you are. They know the physical location of the drone and where it is. Doesn't matter how fast you're going. Doesn't matter where you're located in the area. Like, I know there are multiple major metropolitan areas that have the entire metro covered and can tell exactly where every drone is physically.
But Blunty, I didn't put a remote ID device on my drone, so they can't track me.
Correct. That is incorrect, as we know. That is incorrect. Okay.
So what? Tell me about that.
It means you're not broadcasting an identification of yourself, but you are broadcasting radio signals, right? You're both sending radio signals to your drone, and your drone is sending radio signals back out. Remember, this is like you have video coming to you. Right?
I can tell you that there was a system that existed 5 years ago. And I don't know how good it was, but it existed 5 years ago, so presumably it exists today, and it's even better. But this system, you would set it up around your stadium, your hotel, your resort, and it had antennas and also microphones. And it would detect the audible signature of the props, and they had directional microphones, and would triangulate the drone's location based on the relative strength of the signal coming from both the radio and the props. So and then you would just pop up on a map and it'd be like, there's a drone here, right? So like they absolutely know where your drone is. And now the question was, do they know where the pilot is? I think that's a little bit trickier, both because the pilot is on the ground and there's a lot of radio transmissions in the 2.4 gigahertz range. Something up in the air with no interference moving around, I think is easier to track than something on the ground, blocked by terrain, blocked by buildings potentially, and also just in a lot of noise. I don't know. Any thoughts about that, Plenty?
That's definitely true. I mean, just from the pure radio waves, they have systems set up to detect you flying around with your video coming back from the drone, with your telemetry coming off of the drone. They can find you. Also, this is not DJI Aeroscope. somebody in chat asked about DJI drone scope. That's Aeroscope, and I can tell you this is not Aeroscope. This is completely separate from Aeroscope.
Yep.
So it does not rely on DJI or any other system or whatever. And many public safety agencies have these. The budgets, just so you know, the budgets for these systems are both low when you think about what they're buying and high for what you think they might be available to. Right. So they are spending a lot of money protecting metros from drones. This is a big thing that's been a push. It's happening. There's also a situation right now where since June 1st, they want to nail a bunch of people with drones to show that they're
to make a point.
This new thing is happening, right? There's mandatory minimum fines. Like they have to fine you. They can't give you a warning anymore, right? So we're going to see violations, but there's also because they have pop-up TFRs everywhere that nobody knows about, and then if you're not checking immediately, you might violate by accident, right? So there's a combination of things happening here. We just want to make sure everybody's aware. Like pay attention, know where you're flying, don't do something crazy. Let's kind of let things wash out and see where this all ends up in a month or two. But just so you know, they're cracking down.
Yeah, good. I'm seeing posts in the comments saying, tens of people. Joseph Dahari says they've had like 30 plus drone seizures already. I know a few people who got calls. They are watching. Interesting. Yeah. So, we just don't want to see. We assume that everybody watching this live stream is innocent and not looking to cause any trouble. In fact, the clip I showed at the beginning of the stream is probably far more implicating than anything anybody here would do. That was just for funsies and does not reflect anything I would do in real life. I promise. But we don't want you guys to get popped just by accident by just, something pops up. So, yeah, Joseph Dahari, a post from the FBI in Atlanta. FBI Atlanta has now seized 21 drones from operators violating the TFR near FIFA World Cup events downtown. One operator has been arrested for violating the TFR and also for allegedly being in the country illegally. Oh, gosh darn it. It always comes back to that, doesn't it?
Yeah, just to be clear, that's 21 drones in less than a month in one place.
One metro area, yeah. So the takeaway here is that it used to be that, drone rules, but basically no one was paying attention and no one was enforcing them. And it's pretty clear that that's not happening anymore. That's not true.
Yes, correct. Yeah, you're not getting a warning right now. They may start doing warnings again in a couple months or whatever, but right now you're not getting a warning. If you get in trouble, you're getting a violation from the FAA. Yeah. That's what's happening.
All right. Squid509 in the Discord says, I use this app. Squid, I used to use Aloft. I don't remember why I stopped. Either it went to some kind of a subscription model. Something changed about Aloft. I don't remember what changed about Aloft that I stopped using it. Terrible new version. Can't get Lance approval. Won't save my phone number. I don't know. I don't think it was that. But the Aloft app changed, and I was like, I'm out, and I switched to the one I showed you, the autopilot. Go ahead, Blunty.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I think it changed, right? And there's...
air control.
Yeah, it changed to air control.
I don't remember, and I'm the kind of guy who, as long as something works, I'll just keep using it forever. Like, I'm fundamentally a fuddy-duddy in that way. So if whatever changed about Aloft was annoying enough that I stopped using it, I don't remember what it was, but I would say it's disqualifying. It's weird because Autopilot, I believe it also has a subscription. So I would be inclined to be like, well, I'm not paying a subscription. But I use Autopilot, and the subscription isn't that expensive, I guess. I don't know. Go ahead, Blunty.
Aloft has a second app called Air Aware that I think is a little better. So you can try that.
Oh, yeah,
I think one is Lance and one is not Lance. I can't remember how that works.
But you need Lance. Maybe that's it. Maybe they took away the Lance approvals. I mean, you want the ability
to... But there is a Google app, Aloft Air Aware, and that does allow you to get Lance, I believe.
I don't know. Like I said, Autopilot is just one. It happens to be the one that I use, and I like it. There are maybe others, but I did want to say, since someone brought Aloft up specifically, I used to use it and I stopped because something about it changed and I thought it was bad. But, check it out. Try out your different options. I'm just going to keep using Autopilot because it works for me. All right. What is Lance? Why are we expected to know this? Indeed. Lance is basically, there's places where you can just fly, okay? Like Class G airspace. You can just fly up to 400 feet. You don't need to ask anybody's permission. And there's places where you absolutely may not fly. Like, Class A airspace at a major airport. Like, theoretically, you might be able to get a waiver to fly in that airspace. I don't know. But generally, that's just like, hell no. Like, anywhere on that map where you see the 0-foot grid, do not fly there. You can't fly there without special permission. Okay? And then there's places where you're in, like, Class D airspace, and the Class D airspace comes down to 200 feet. And so, like, you can fly below 200 feet, and you're fine. But in order to do that, you have to, like, let somebody know that you're going to fly there. And it used to be, way, way back when, that you would literally call the tower. You would call the tower at the airport, and you would say to the guy in the tower, hey, I'm going to be flying a drone. I'm in this location. I'm going to stay below 200 feet. And he'd say, okay. And then the FAA went, well, that's no good. We need a centralized system. And they invented the LANC system. I don't know what LANC stands for. LAANC. I think it's just LAANC. And basically with Lance, what you do is when you're in one of those like Class D places where technically there's a ceiling, you can fly below the ceiling, you submit for Lance approval. You do it through an app. It's centralized. It's basically instantaneous. But you just go into the app. It says, you can fly here with Lance approval. You hit, I want Lance approval. And then it asks you, okay, how long are you going to be there? What's your ceiling going to be? You put in 200 feet, 1 hour. Boom. Okay, it says you have approval, and then you're good to go. You can fly in that location as long as you respect that ceiling. And that's it. And the question then is, why are we expected to know this? Well, because, for the same reason that if you drive a car on the public roads, you are expected to know about the rules of the road. You're expected to know about right-of-way and speed limit signs and right on red and wrong way signs and yield and so forth. When you drive a car on the public road, there's a set of rules and expectations you're expected to know. When you fly a drone in the public airspace, there's a set of rules and expectations you're expected to know. These things are covered, I assume, on the trust test. It's been so long since I took the trust test, I don't even remember. But like you're expected to know these things because you're using a public resource or whatever. And you go, I don't like that. Well, I mean, okay. Like, there's people who don't like that, and they decide what they're gonna do with that information, right? Most people who drive cars on public roads have a driver's license and a registered car and insurance, and some people don't. They're just like, I'm not gonna do that, and then occasionally they get arrested and their car gets impounded, and you make your decisions about how you're gonna live your life, but that is like what the government has said they expect of you. So, did I say trust test or did I say smart test? Trust test? No, I said trust. Richard said smart. Okay. Louis says, why should a 5-year-old with a little drone have to take the trust test, get a 107, and ask big boy pilots if they can fly in their backyard? I agree, Louis. I would say if I were the king of the world, I would make a ceiling under which you didn't need to be licensed, and or I would make what they call the shielded operations rule, where if you are within such a distance of a tree or a building, you're good to go. Because the assumption is that manned aircraft traffic will not be within, say, 50 feet of a building or a tree. And so, like, that's just free for all, right? I think that makes a lot of sense, and there are other countries that have implemented it, and I think it has worked well there. The flip side, like, I always want to steelman an argument. Steelman is the process of, like, taking the opposing side and trying to make the best argument for the opposing side that you can so you can make your own argument stronger. If I were to steelman the argument, it would be that if you say, we're going to say, 100 feet and below or within 50 feet of a building or tree or ground or terrain feature is no licensing. Okay, fine. how do you know that you're within 50 feet of the building? You don't have a freaking, how do you know? You don't know. You're just flying your drone. It's really easy to bust that ceiling. Many small drones, I dare say most small drones don't have an altimeter. So like it's very much on the pilot who hasn't been licensed or trained or isn't aware of the regulations in any way, right? They're just out there doing their thing. It's really on them not to bust the ceiling, and it would be very easy for them to just raise the throttle and bust the ceiling, at which point, what good is the regulation? So if there's a counter argument for why they're saying everyone needs to be licensed, even little Timmy in his backyard with a toy, it's that even that toy can even like a little toy drone that you got, off of Temu, can go up to 500 feet and potentially crash into a manned aircraft. And so, like, if they were to do that, would they also then say, okay, but all drones sold in the USA have to have an altimeter and have to be able to enforce a ceiling of 100 feet? At which point we would be annoyed at that. I don't know. But the trust test isn't hard. It's not hard. It's like 12 questions. It's not hard. It takes 15 minutes, And I just think I think that from the FAA's perspective, it's very difficult to discern. It's like the guy who's out fishing and he doesn't have a fishing license, right? And like all of a sudden, oh no, I didn't catch those fish today. I caught those, somebody else's. I don't know. It's enough about, like, there's all kinds of little shenanigans people who are out fishing who don't have a fishing license or whatever, they use to kind of like try and play shenanigans with the game wardens, Like, oh, I don't know enough about it. But like, it's really easy if you're flying a drone to be like, no, I'm below 100 feet. What are you talking about? Except immediately it takes you 0 seconds to now be 500 feet, right? It's so easy. There's no way to enforce it. It's very difficult. Anyway, there we go. All right. Let's take some more questions. Any information regarding the 04 gyroflow problem? Oh, we still have to go back to NCFPV, who was going to be my first question, and then Blunty said, let's talk about FAA stuff, and that was like 45 minutes ago. Don't worry, NCFPV, I won't forget you. Any information regarding the 04 gyroflow problem? So for those who don't know, the newer DJI 04 Air units have a different gyro chip on them, and it is creating... Well, it's unknown whether the problem is specifically the chip or the firmware that came with the chip, but basically all of the 04 Air units that have this newer chip, they don't work with image stabilization. The gyro data is glitchy, and Rocksteady doesn't work, and Gyroflow doesn't work. No, there is no information. There is no fix from DJI as far as I know. There are 2 workarounds that I have seen people suggest. One of them is to set the low pass filter super low, like 5 hertz or 1 hertz. The problem with that is, yes, it removes the glitchy noise, but it also makes the stabilization basically non-existent. So, yes, it gets rid of the problem, but it also gets rid of the desired effect. So that's no good. The other one is to turn off the gyro stabilization and only use optical flow. Basically, the way that stabilization used to work is that it purely relied on analyzing the image, looking at how the image was moving, and then stabilizing it by finding points in the image and analyzing, creating like a vector map. Okay, and that worked pretty well, but then somebody figured out that if you had a gyro, you could do much better stabilization, because then you actually know how the camera moves instead of having to look at the image and try and figure out how the camera moves. And so now that's the standard way of doing it. But if you turn off the gyro and just do optical flow, you still get pretty good stabilization and it bypasses the bug. However, there has not been any solution from DJI as far as I know, and I hate to say this, but that's where the solution has to come from. The gyro data is effed up. Once upon a time, before like every camera had gyro data built in, what people would do is, this was especially true for cinema pilots, they would have a big cinema camera like a Red Komodo or some other cinema camera. And a Red Komodo is technically a smaller cinema camera, but you get the point. And what they do is they take a GoPro and they would stick the GoPro on top of the cinema camera and they would record with the GoPro. And the only purpose of the GoPro was to record the gyro data, which they would then, you can actually extract the gyro data from one file and you can pair the gyro data with a different video feed. Theoretically, you could extract the gyro data from the flight controller using Blackbox. And except the difference is that the camera will have slightly different vibrations than the flight controller, so it may not match up very well. But like theoretically, all those things are things you could do as a workaround, is extract the gyro data from a different source and stabilize the footage. But the ideal thing is to have the gyro data come from the camera. And currently, if you have one of these new DJI Air units, there is no fix.
Just to be clear, it's not all the new units. I just want to make sure that people know that. If you have a new O4, it doesn't mean it's automatically condemned.
Oh, some of them are okay.
Which are Madstech says he has new ones that work fine. So what I would say is make sure that you still have the camera mounted correctly, you still have the PWM set correctly, you do all of the other fixes. Like you haven't, you know what I mean? Because you can't just assume you have a bad one unless you've opened it and looked at the gyro. You know, that seems to be the way people are deciding. I just wouldn't take it as such a concrete thing of like all the new O4s are broken, so I'm going to get
wait. Are you saying that all of the new ones don't have the new gyro? Or so do all of
I don't know the
do
answer.
all of the ones with the new gyro have the problem, or do some of the ones with the new gyro not have the problem?
I don't know, but I'm going to say for most users it has no bearing because they're not going to open and look.
Okay, well, sure. Some people are looking. Oh, I guess what I'm wondering is if somebody looks and they have this new gyro, which you can tell, I think, from the serial number or the production date. If they have the new gyro, I mean, at that point, what are you going to do? You're not going to send it back. You might as well test it out, right? But theoretically, if they have the new gyro, is it 100% or 99% that they have the problem? I guess we don't know the answer to that. I thought that was the case. I thought all the new gyros had the problem.
There's not enough data. That's what I'm going to say.
Okay, fair enough. Islander FPV says some new units are fine, according to Madstech and his community. Not all of them. So you might be fine. If you have the problem, there's nothing you can do, though, really.
If you get a new unit, I think the things you should be doing are the old fixes. You should be looking at your camera. You should be looking at your PWM. You should be doing all the normal things people would do if they have Jello on a DJI 04. Yeah. And then if that doesn't work, just assume you have the issue. That's where I would lean towards.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I would think that the new batch of 04s would all use the same gyro. So that's the thing. I would be surprised, unless they had, I guess if they had multiple production facilities that might have different batches of hardware. Yeah, Myrmidon says, I have the new gyro confirmed, but I don't have the problem. Well, that's good to know. That's good to know. If you have the problem, you will know. It's a twitch. It's a massive twitch in the stable. You only see it when you stabilize the footage. The footage looks fine unstabilized. It's just not stabilized. You stabilize it, and ooh, it's all stabilized, and then suddenly it just goes wah, wah, wah. So DJI needs to fix it. Is the takeaway.
Also, just remember, folks, this isn't that big of a deal unless you really care about the recorded footage on your 04. Well, just to be clear. And then even then, you could, but most people don't really care about it or have an external camera or could do the gyro flow anyway. There's a lot of people who keep coming in the chats and going, I can't buy a new 04. What's going on? My 04 is broken. And most people are not going to be affected by this. It won't matter. And most of the 04s are not affected by this from what we know. So don't make it a big deal. That's what I would say personally.
Yes. So the person who is most affected by this is a professional or a YouTube semi-professional who wants the final stabilized footage and who has decided to use an 04 and not a GoPro. So like if you have a Cinewhoop and you're trying to save weight, and so you're using the 04 footage for your final deliverable, and you want to stabilize it, and this affects you, then you're going to be really annoyed. But if you're a typical freestyle pilot, you shouldn't be stabilizing that footage anyway. I want to see raw footage for that freestyle. I hate it when people stabilize freestyle footage. I want to see what your drone is doing. I don't want to see no stabilized bullshit.
Also, just to be clear, I think this also affects Rocksteady, right? Because Rocksteady
Yes,
uses this
it's
gyro.
the same. It affects both Rocksteady, and that was the other thing I wanted to say. Somebody said, "Oh, so this only affects it in gyroflow." It's the base gyro data that is being used for the stabilization, and that affects both Rocksteady and gyroflow equally, the exact same results. Yeah, so if you're a freestyle pilot who doesn't use stabilization, this doesn't affect you. If you're a professional pilot who's using a different camera for your final deliverable, this doesn't affect you. It only affects you if, number one, you're using the 04 footage for your final deliverable, and number two, you need stabilization. And then if that is you, there are still a couple workarounds like optical flow or using an external source of gyro data, which are annoying that you have to do that, but they do work. Okay. Let's go back to this question from NCFPV. I was wondering what you thought of the new GoPro Mission 1 camera. Let's look at that. GoPro Mission 1 camera. This is a pretty cool camera coming out from GoPro. Now, it starts at $600, so immediately I am somewhat disinclined to just throw it on an FPV drone. You know, if I break a $300 GoPro, that hurts. If I break a $600 GoPro, that hurts twice as much. It's got a 1-inch sensor, 8K open gate recording, impressive. Really impressive runtime and thermal performance. I've heard it'll do like 4K recording without overheating for an hour or something. The new battery, I don't know how long. That I just pulled that out of my ass, but it's like a long time. It'll record 4K without overheating for a long time. Longer than you would think. New upgraded batteries give it long runtime. And it's got these customized lenses, like compatibility with Micro Four Thirds lenses. Very slick. So, like, what's not to like? Well, the size and the weight. And the price. Yeah, Blinty.
Tell me, okay, as someone who doesn't use an action camera, how do you handle focus on a GoPro when you're flying FPV?
It's just fixed focus.
You just
GoPro doesn't have adjustable. No, it doesn't have adjustable focus.
Right, but this camera doesn't have autofocus. That's why I'm asking.
Are you talking about with the MFT lenses?
The Mission 1, as far as I know, does not have autofocus. It lacks autofocus.
No, it doesn't have focus at all. It's a fixed focus. So with the app, it is just the focus is fixed at a certain distance, and that's just what it is. And just basically everything you see is always in focus. Right? I mean, I've never seen a GoPro focus on anything. I've never seen it focus. There is no manual setting for focus in a GoPro, and it doesn't have autofocus. So I've just assumed they have it just set to parfocal distance, and just basically everything is sharp all the time.
Gotcha. Like I said, I don't use GoPro.
No, I mean, I'm a little flustered because I've never thought about it either. But like, I've never thought about focus when using a GoPro at all. It's an action camera, so it's just set so that everything in frame is sharp. Like maybe like 2 inches from the camera, it's not sharp, but everything from whatever number of inches out is sharp. And that's just that. So you're not going to get bokeh. It is, if you're using the Micro Four Thirds though, the Micro Four Thirds lenses have to have focus. And if I understand correctly, it doesn't have the ability to do electronic focus. So you have to use a Micro Four Thirds lens with manual focus, which not all of them have. So that's when that comes into play. But with the built-in lens, it just has fixed focus and everything's in focus all the time. What is the size and weight though? So the price is one thing. Yada, yada, yada. 32-bit audio is very cool. That's very nice, especially for drones, because 32-bit float audio basically cannot clip. So you could have perfectly good audio when you're sitting there talking, and then you put the camera on the drone and go fly. And I guess the microphone theoretically has some maximum sound pressure level where the microphone will distort, but the sound file will not clip, which is kind of cool. Where is the... Come on. Come on. Tech specs. Imaging, video, time-lapse photo, audio features, design, and dimensions. There we go. 80 by 52 by 44 with a weight of 207 grams. 207 grams is getting up there. Right? What was a Hero 8? Like the Hero 8 was... I remember the Hero 8 was bigger than the 7, but not by much. And we all went, GoPro's getting a little bigger. And then the 9, 10, 11 got even bigger. Hero 8 was 126 grams. GoPro Hero 7. Nope, that's still not how you spell weight. Physical weight, 116 grams. So yeah, the classic weight, what was the Hero 11? The Hero 11 got much bigger. Hero 11, weight 153 grams. So we went from 116 grams for the Hero 7, 126 grams for the Hero 8, 150 grams for the Hero 11. Now we're at 200 grams. I don't think that's going to be completely disqualifying. NCFPV says at 207 grams, it seems too heavy for a 5-inch. I mean, I don't think that's completely disqualifying. Like, definitely, like, that's going to take a 5-inch drone. Let's say your drone weighs 400 grams, your battery, let's say 400 to 500 grams for your drone, 200 grams for your battery. That's going to bring you to the 600 or 700 grams, maybe 800 grams. And then you stick a GoPro on there. Like the difference between, say, 850 to 900 grams versus 950 grams, that's heavy for a 5-inch. You're not wrong. But like, I suspect that extra 50 grams between the Hero 11 and the Mission 1 would not be like, it's this like boil the frog situation. The water just gets hotter and hotter. The GoPros just get heavier and heavier. You know, when the Hero 8 came out and it was 127 grams instead of 116 grams, people were like, oh, I guess I can tolerate that extra 10 grams. And then the Hero 11 came out and it was like 30 more grams. And people were like, yeah, but the Hero 11's so good. They just keep getting heavier and we just keep taking it. So I suspect that the kind of person who wants to fly this camera, like, I feel like the $600 price point is more disqualifying. I would rather get... like, oh my goodness, I can't type today. I can't type at all. Like, what's a Hero 11 go for on eBay? You can't even have it. $225 for a Hero 11. Okay, Hero 11, $250. So $250 for a Hero 11. You know. Can you get a Hero 8 anymore? $129 for a Hero 8, right? Like, if you just want to record your freestyle, is there a real reason to be using something like, even a Hero 7 can do 1080p, whatever frame rate. Like, these are fine cameras. Yes, there are features that are missing. Yes, there are ways that they're not as good. But, like, for freestyle, like, the number one thing I'd like to do is go to Best Buy and get a warranty. But the Best Buy warranty isn't what it used to be. It used to just be a free license to get a new camera. No questions asked. Nowadays, it's a little bit more tricky than that. So assuming that I'm not going to get a warranty, then I'm going to get I would put something like a Hero 7 or a Hero 8 used for $129. And then when I break it, it doesn't make me cry as much. Look, I can get Hero 8s all day for let's say less than $150. That's what I would do. for your typical sort of just freestyle bashing. And then I would have a lighter camera and a cheaper camera.
Okay, the other thing we need to let people know about, Sunshine linked in the Discord, the GoPro will probably be closing by the end of 2026. So I would not buy one of these on the idea that you're going to get any warranty or support long term.
What?
We've talked before on the show about on this Q&A about GoPro falling apart and having really bad stock issues, and they're like we showed that graph where they went up for a little while and they were back down again. Well, it turns out they have a big loan that they can't pay back, and they're saying that even this filing they refiled on June 1st could be could throw them into default with the loan that they have. So basically they're saying they may have to dissolve the company and be solvent, or they won't be solvent by the end of the year.
Yikes. It's like...
So be aware. Do not buy something GoPro-wise and expect that you're going to get a warranty or replacement on it.
What's weird is they make such good cameras. Like how it feels like even if the company had to downsize somewhat, it seems like the cameras they make should be able to support some level of business.
The problem is, how many cameras did they make? How many models of each camera did they make? How available were they? What were the replacement costs that they were charging people? Right? Why did they choose to make the cameras they made, and how were they selling in the different market segments? To me, those were all the issues that GoPro did. Like, they were making decent products for people who didn't need them, or like, you know what I mean? They were basically fucking up over and over again of how to deliver a camera to people. If you look at the history of them, they did it okay for a little while, but there were big areas where they were just not delivering to the customer base.
Nobody makes an action camera as good as GoPro.
Well, DJI does now, at least partially.
I don't believe it. The DJI, yeah, I've used the DJI. I mean, maybe their new one is much better. I've always found them to be almost as good, but never as good as GoPro. I guess maybe that difference is not enough to sustain the whole company.
Right. I mean, for instance, let me just, as an example, we never saw the Session come back. Right? Like,
we had the Hero 11 Mini.
Right, but we never got a Session. To me, that's a company that doesn't understand what people want, right? People are still buying used Sessions.
But that's FPV pilots. I always said that the people were like, why don't they bring back the Session? It's so good. And I'm like, yes, if you're an FPV pilot. The only people who cared about the Session were people who cared about the size and weight. For most people, like the kind of person who's putting a GoPro on their chest or on their helmet, a 50-gram difference in weight is irrelevant. And the lack of a built-in screen, the difference in durability is largely irrelevant because we smash our drone into the ground at 70 miles an hour. If you have a GoPro mounted on your helmet and you break the GoPro, you'd be more worried about your head than the GoPro. I always thought that the Session was really great for freestyle pilots and nobody else. But they did bring the Hero 11, which was in some ways a retry of the Session, I would say.
Yeah, I don't know. It seems like, I don't know. It looks like the company didn't make it, regardless of what happened.
Yeah,
mismanagement or release of products or whatever. I think they're going to shut down. I mean, I don't see this turning it around for them, but maybe.
Okay. All right. Well, DJI best action camera today. What's DJI's best action? Oh, DJI. What do you got? The Osmo Action 6. We're up to the 6. Maybe that's the new hotness. How much is it? Osmo Action 5. Always buy this last generation, boys. Oh yeah, $300. There you go. Probably get DJI care on it too. Get a warranty. Smash it into the ground and break it. Get a new one. All right. There you go.
Can I also say, I feel like a large part of why GoPros were so popular was because you could get replacements for cheap, and that probably hurt the company heavily.
They have to have lost a shitload of money on those replacement plans.
Right. So you
would think.
I don't know. Somebody had to be doing the numbers and going, something's wrong here, but I don't know.
Should I go for GoPro or DJI for a beginner, reliable camera that has best bang for buck? I have always thought that GoPro had better looking footage. It's subtle, but GoPro had, if you shot in a flat color profile, GoPro had much better dynamic range than DJI, and that additional shadow detail made a big difference in like your ability to grade the footage. People I know who do color grading have said they prefer to work with GoPro footage over DJI footage, that it gives them more flexibility. If you only ever use the footage straight out of the camera, I don't think you're going to care. If you do color grading in post, I've always... Now, again, I haven't seen the latest DJI Osmo cameras. That's been... I don't remember what the last one I looked at was, but it was something around the 2 or the 3. So maybe it's gotten better, but yeah. All right. Turkey sandwich hero or chicken parm? I only took this question because this is such an obvious answer that it's Joseph Dahari. I question, like, I'm going to call a wellness check in on you because you even had to ask this. First of all, I'm going to start a poll. We're going to see if the audience agrees with me. I'm not going to give away the answer. We're going to start a poll. Joseph Dahari, that you have to ask this question just makes me wonder whether you're feeling all right. They shouldn't show the results of the poll while the poll is going on. It looks like they're showing the result at the bottom of the chat. Is that just for me, Blunty, or is the chat seeing that as well?
I think it shows once you vote.
Oh, once you vote. Okay, fantastic.
I could be wrong, but I think it shows once you vote.
Okay, first of all, what is a turkey sandwich hero? That's just a turkey sub sandwich. A hero is a sub sandwich, basically. What is a turkey hero? Yeah, so it's basically just a turkey sub versus a chicken parm. Okay, good. So the audience is currently going 72% for chicken parm. Obviously, it's chicken parm! Now, I've had a good turkey sandwich in my day. You can make a good turkey sandwich. You can. But there's no question. The chicken parm. First of all, it's fried. Anything fried is better than anything not fried. That's a fact. You take a turkey hero sandwich. You dip it in batter and you deep fry it. It will be better than it was before you deep fried it. So you got the chicken parm. It's pan fried. It's chopped up. It's got melted cheese on it. It's a hot sandwich. Hot sandwich, always better than a cold sandwich. It's a hot, melted cheese, marinara. Shut up. And then you take the one thing about a chicken parm, which is that you have to eat it off a plate with a knife and fork, and you put it in a sub roll, and now you got a sandwich. You can eat it anywhere. Obviously, that's better. Obviously, that's better. The only downside of the chicken parm sandwich is that a chicken parm is best when it's served with a side of spaghetti. And so it's a little heavy on the carbs. You got the breaded chicken and you also got the bread of the sandwich. It's a little heavy on the carbs, but I'll forgive it if it means I can eat a chicken parm while I'm driving in the car or something, as opposed to sitting at a table. Now, there are cold sandwiches that would have won against the chicken parm. The thing about a chicken parm, its weakness is that it's a little bit one note. Okay, so I want you to think about a really good Italian sandwich. It's got 3 kinds of meat. Got salami, got pepperoni, got some kind of ham maybe. Okay? And then it's got lettuce, tomato, onion, banana pepper, red wine vinegar, mayonnaise, oregano. It's got all these flavors, right? It's all, and then you bite into it, and you're like, oh my God, what is my mouth doing? Okay. Now, you make me a hot Italian. Oh, whoa, even better. So, there are other sandwiches. A chicken parm, you got just a chicken, breading, marinara, cheese. Boom, that's it. It's a beautiful thing. But sometimes you want a little bit more variety. You want to go wide instead of deep. Okay? But a freaking turkey sandwich, what were you thinking? No. No question. No question. No, the thing is turkey. The turkey club could have that variety, but the problem is that turkey as a lunch meat is so uninspiring that it's already starting from such a disadvantage compared to the chicken parm. Okay, I'm glad we got that out of the way. Like, there's things you could offer me at a buffet. You know, like we're at some kind of an event and they bring out, we're at some kind of a convention and they got some kind of a lunch line. And I look at the lunch line and the thing on the lunch line that I would most like to eat is the turkey sandwich. I could imagine that. Like, I would probably rather have a turkey sandwich than like, I don't know, like a roast beef. You would think roast beef would be better, but roast beef is often really dry. And then you want it to be with some nice mustard, and it never is. And like, I could imagine a lunch line where the turkey sandwich is the thing I picked. I don't hate turkey, but I just feel like it's very low in the pecking order of sandwich meats. He didn't say a turkey club, though. He said a turkey sandwich hero. He didn't say turkey club. If he said turkey club, it would have bacon on it, and that still wouldn't be enough to make up for the turkey, but it would get it. It would be closer. Okay. All right. Good to know. Let's take these super chats. We got a couple super chats. WKFPV, thank you for 750, 75, 75. Ooh. I don't know what currency that is. DJI 04 Lite and G2 1080p 100 randomly getting drop frames on the live feed. Woof. WKFPV, I can't solve this for you over the live stream. All I can tell you is to use process of elimination, test another 04 in the same location, test a different set of goggles. You have to use process of elimination to figure out if it's the hardware, if it's the firmware. I mean, you started doing that by testing out the bitrate power options. You gotta just get another, I wish I could say, oh yeah, there's a bug in the 04 that causes this. There isn't. It's just you got some glitchy thing that you have to track down. I'm sorry to say.
Well, I'll just say auto has bitrate issues, but you said you tested bitrate power options. That means you switched off of auto to test like manual stuff. But make sure you're not using auto because there are bugs with auto.
I mean, that's fair. That's fair. Set fixed bitrate, set fixed power. That's fair. Yeah. Ooh. Monte Cristo is the king of sandwiches. Now, here's the thing about a Monte Cristo. Monte Cristo isn't an everyday sandwich. Monte Cristo is like a once-in-a-while sandwich. And here's the thing. You go to a restaurant and they have a Monte Cristo on the menu. And sometimes they give you this bullshit. This guy, very easy recipes. Sorry. This is not a Monte Cristo. Okay? So a Monte Cristo is a sandwich. It's got turkey. I believe it's got ham. The key thing about a Monte Cristo is that it is battered and deep fried. And restaurants will sell you a quote-unquote Monte Cristo that's basically just made with French toast. Okay? No. That's a fine sandwich. By the way, that's a delicious sandwich. Don't call it a Monte Cristo. Come up with some other name for it. Because if I order a Monte Cristo, by God, I want a deep-fried fucking sandwich. That looks more promising. I can't tell what's going on here. It needs to be... That doesn't look like somebody just made a couple pieces of French toast and slapped it in a sandwich. Now, it could be pan-fried. It doesn't have to be deep-fried. But deep fried is better, but it has to be battered and fried. It can't just be, I buttered some bread. Okay? Cheddar's restaurant serves a correct Monte Cristo. That looks more like it, right? That's what I'm talking about. They're okay
Looks like
the
something you
other
buy
way.
at the fair.
Yeah, you're damn right. You're damn right. I remember Cheddar's serves a proper Monte Cristo. And then it's dusted with sugar and served with like a raspberry jam or something. I don't know. I don't know what it is. I'm looking at these. All I know is that if I order a Monte Cristo and what comes out looks like you just made me a piece of French toast and slapped a sandwich on it, I feel like you short-circuited the situation. I want it to look like it came out of a deep fryer. This is what I want it to look like. That's a Monte Cristo. I'll eat the other stuff, but I'll side-eye you the whole time I'm eating it. Anyway. Yeah, see that? Do you see how this is being dipped into a giant bowl of batter? That's it. That's what I want. I want to know that you did that. Okay. You used to be able to get a Monte Cristo at Ruby Tuesdays. Used to serve a Monte Cristo. I believe they're out of business now. And once, way back when, I was, my wife and I, my now wife, had just started dating. We were relatively new in the relationship. We were at that point in the relationship where you'll kind of just do anything just to spend time with each other. And it was just a Saturday afternoon, and she was like, "Man, I haven't had a Monte Cristo in forever." And we looked, and the nearest Ruby Tuesday, we were in Atlanta, the nearest Ruby Tuesday was in Huntsville, Alabama, which is like a 2.5-hour drive, 2-hour drive. And we just jumped in the car, drove to Huntsville, had a Monte Cristo, and drove home. And just, so I feel very strongly about Monte Cristos. Bennigan's has a Monte Cristo? I can't remember where it was. Maybe it was Bennigan's. Oh, Bennigan's Monte Cristo. Maybe it was a Bennigan's. World famous. Give me a picture. Show me a picture, you son of a bitch. Yes. See, look. Bennigan's Monte Cristo. First search result. Do you see that has obviously been battered and dropped in a deep fryer? There you go. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. That's the real deal. Anyway. Are my motors too small? Thank you, Thaws, for a $5 Canadian super chat. Are my motors too small? AOS 3.5, all-up weight, 340 grams, 1404, 4680 kV. Getting 3-minute flights with a 4S 1100. Woof. I think 1804 is going to be... That feels too big. That feels bigger than you need. Like, for example... Let's look up, I always just like to compare things to other things. Sometimes I just remember the specs, but a lot of times I don't. Let's take a look at the Tiny Trainer. And the reason I'm looking at the Tiny Trainer is it's a relatively heavy 3-inch. Where's the ready to go? Ready to flies. It's relatively heavy because it's made for a spec class, and it's designed to be a little bit heavy on purpose to make it easier to fly. Weight is 110 grams without battery. 600 milliamp hour 3S. Is that a 3-inch or a 3.5? You're on a 3.5. Damn. Well, we should really do a fair comparison. Oh, here's the 3.5 inch. Perfect. Oh, 1804. See, that's why I always check. Where's the weight? I don't care about that. Oh, you don't list the weight. You son of a bitch. What's the weight of the 3.5 inch tiny trainer? I don't want the frame kit. I want the whole weight. No. Man. Do I have to ask AI?
Somebody needs to make a bingo for the stream.
What? Every time I go to AI, you drink?
No, like we've done food, government, we've done drones, we've done, you know what I mean? Like you could make a bingo. Like things you say, like 100%.
Yeah. All right, assuming that AI is not completely full of shit, which it might be, but I can't find, it would take too much searching for me to try and find this information somewhere else. I've got the frame weight, estimated dry weight, it's just guessing. All up weight, 210 to 265 grams with the battery. Does that track? The 3-inch is 110 grams without battery. I think you're heavy. Like the fact that the fact that 533 uses 1804 motors means that the 1804 3450 kV, that's probably where you got that number, is by looking, I don't know. If not, that's a fine 3.5 inch motor. Your 1404s are usable on a 3.5 inch prop. They're better for a 3-inch prop than a 3.5 inch prop, but they're usable. But I think the main reason that you're getting short flight times is that you are of an all-up weight. I think you said 350 grams? All-up weight 340 grams. That's pretty heavy for a 3.5 inch. In my sort of pantheon, 3 inches is comfortably under 250 grams all up, and 3.5 inches can be just barely under 250 grams all up. So you're at 340 grams. You're heavy for a 3.5 inch. Where is that weight coming from? It's not that your motors are too small, it's that your props are too small for the weight of your drone. That's what I would say. And the motors aren't going to fix that. Like, for a heavy drone, you do want bigger motors because they deal with the heat better. But you're still going to have short flight time. You maybe need a much bigger battery, but that's just going to add more weight. What battery are you using? 1100. So 4S 1100 may have something to do with it. Your typical battery is going to be more like in the 650 to 800 range. That's adding some weight, but I don't think it's adding all the weight. All right. Well, I hope that helped, Thawes. We got a super chat here from Daytona Jim. Just a $5 holla. Thank you, Jim. Got a super chat here from Carmi522. Thank you for $2. Can I have a large Boca and a 6-piece Boca wing, bike and wing? Yes. Get you Boca. Does Bardwell's accent only come out during sandwich talk? Thank you. Yeah, Blunty, you make fun of the sandwiches, but that got me a lot of super chats. People want the sandwich talk. I feel like it's important to spend a little bit of time each live stream just bullshitting about unrelated stuff. It's for my mental health, really. Chicken Parm or BLT? Richard FPV, thank you for a $2 super chat. Well, for $2, I'll only rant about this for like 3 minutes instead of 20 minutes. But a BLT is a really solid sandwich. But the problem with a BLT is that it doesn't have the protein to really carry it, right? Like the hot bacon, the cold tomato, the cold crunchy lettuce, it's a beautiful thing. But ultimately, I eat a BLT and I'm like, where's the rest of it? I guess you could just eat another BLT. It's not substantial enough. And if you do put enough bacon in the BLT to make it have a substantial amount of protein. Now you've just got a giant mouthful of bacon. You disturb the balance. The beauty of the BLT is the balance between the bacon, the lettuce, the tomato. So, but inherently, you have to short the protein, and you end up with this nice experience. But ultimately, BLT always feels like an appetizer. Like I want a little bit. You don't give me a giant BLT. I don't know what to do with it. I want it to be like an amuse-bouche, if you will. So, if I were to do a BLT like proper, maybe I would do like a double layer. Like bacon, lettuce, tomato, or something. Or, sorry, it really should be bacon, tomato, lettuce. I don't know why, but that's how my brain says it should be. Maybe. Anywhere to find the Cinnabot 3.5 in the US and the Goggles 3? I thought I saw Pyrodrone at DJI coming in stock soon. They had DJI listed. Come on. I don't know what's going on here. I don't know what's going on, why it's taking so long to search. My internet is not entertaining. Bingo. Ships June 17th. This is where you got to go. Go pre-order it right now. Ships June 17th. That's in 2 freaking days. Go buy it right now. I don't know about the Cinnabot 3.5. I don't actually recommend the Cinnabot 3.5, to be honest. Frankly, didn't I just list a Cinnabot 3.5 for sale on my Discord? Did no one buy? Did my posts go through? Normally when I list stuff for sale, I get hits immediately.
I saw it come up.
How come nobody has responded? Blunty, is the price too high? Maybe it's because I just did a review and talked about how I don't recommend it. Hey, if you want to buy
you link in the post the place where you say I don't like this drone.
Oh, I'm not gonna rip people off. Like, you never know, somebody might buy it.
I'm just saying it might be a contributing factor.
Okay, fine. Hey, you want a Cinnabot 3.5? I'll sell you this one. $400. That's special pricing for patrons. But I don't know if you're a patron or not. But wax on, wax off. $400. I'm selling it. It comes with the 2.5 or the 2.5. It's only one air unit though. Yeah, I listed this DJI Air unit. No. You think is that too much? Do people not want an O3 Air unit for $250? Let's take it down to 200. There you go. It's marked down. Yeah, we'll see. There you go. I mean, hey, you never know. Someone might buy it. The 3.5 was better than the 2.5, but I assume it's going to have the same issue with the frame when it crashes. I got mine brand new for $499 at release. Yeah, but it's $400 for 2 of them. It's both the 2.5 and the 3.5. So I thought that was a fair price. I mean, I always try and sell shit for a good price. I'm not trying to make money. I mean, obviously I'm trying to make some money, but it's really important to me that if people buy something to me, that they don't later go, fucking Bardwell, rip me off. I hate that guy. So like I sell stuff, but I always try and sell it for such a low price that hopefully, maybe if something isn't quite right with it, you're not pissed off about it. You still feel like you got a good deal. All right, well, wax on, wax off. Email me, jb@joshuabardwell.com, about that Cinnabot. Apparently nobody wants it. You're the guy. You're the man. Hey, JB, I have a question. Thank you, Eli FPV. I have a question. When I try to flash my flight controller to the latest firmware on my HDLRC H743 Mini, the gyro stops working. It only works on 4.5. Usually, Eli, that means that you're flashing the wrong target. Or you're flashing the right target, but the target is broken. Sometimes the manufacturer just screws up the target. If that was happening to me, I would double check. Sometimes the target name changes between versions of Betaflight. I would double check that you're flashing the right target name. Like, what is the target? HGLRC H743. I don't know. Like if I go to firmware flasher and I type HGLRC H743. So here is HGLRC H743 Lite. That's the only one I see that's an H743.
I'll just say, presumably, because it works on 4.5, he is flashing the right target because he's flashing back and forth, right?
Yeah, but my point is, Blunty, like there have been flight controllers in the past, like the Maytech something. Maytech they renamed it between like 4.4 and 4.5. It went from Maytech to Maytech _STD. I don't remember which one it was, but they changed the name in a really confusing way. Yeah, Maytech F405 STD. So the target used to be Maytech F405. And then in a new version of Betaflight, Maytech 405 went away and they changed it to F405 STD. But if you didn't know that, you would be like, where's Maytech F405? And then you might like, or look at this, F405 STD clone. Like, so sometimes the names change between versions and it's not always obvious which the right one for you to pick is. That's my only thing. Usually the name is the same. And it would be really obnoxious if they had the same name and it was not correct. So, like, probably it's fine, but, like, I can't think what else would make his gyro stop working. So, either he's got the wrong target name, which doesn't seem like that's possible because there's only one target, HGLRC H743. There's only one target. Although I can't help but notice the light here.
Yeah, he said to pick the light, and it is an AIO and it's a mini, so that kind of makes sense.
Yeah. So that's
mini,
presumably the right target, at which point you flash it, and if it doesn't work, it has to be the target's fucked up, right?
I mean, it just means that for some reason the gyro's not being included. So I would just include the gyro. That's the easiest way to handle it.
So I believe you do that. How do you do that? You flash where's the thing that you do that flashes all of the gyros?
No. Well, I think the easiest way is just add it in custom defines.
Well, what gyro?
Adding the specific gyro, I don't know. You have to look. I'm not sure, but I'm just saying you add that custom define into the.
What's the thing? No, but what's the thing that core only? Okay, here's what you can do. What you do is you flash core only. Okay? Then, now that will not work. That is not a working flight controller. But that flashes a version of Betaflight that has all the drivers, all the gyros, all the barometers, all the everything. Then, after you flash core only, you go to the CLI and you type, I believe it is status. And what you'll see is devices detected, gyro. Why is gyro none? What the fuck? I'm sorry. What have I flashed this thing to? What firmware is this? Why does it say gyro none? That makes no sense. Army disable flags, no gyro. What the fuck? Okay, that's weird. Okay, let's try it. Let's do it. I'm not sure what has happened there. So this is the JBF7. Go ahead, Blunty.
I'm just saying, so regardless of the target issue, I'm just saying I know this has happened to other people. Crom reported this in the Discord, and I've seen other people have this issue where when they flash, they don't get the gyros included. So all you have to do is manually include the gyro you know is in it by looking at the website for the board. That's all that I'm saying.
Yeah, but you may not know what gyro's in it.
Right, but you look up this. I just looked up this HGLRC. It says the gyro ICM 42688. So you just use the two defines for that, which are gyro underscore SPI underscore.
Okay, hang on. So we find the flight controller. That's the flight controller, right? Is that it?
Yes.
Okay. Then we find out what gyro's on it. ICM 42688. How do we then find the defines, Plenty?
All you have to do is you just do gyro underscore SPI underscore the name of the gyro.
Okay, how do you know that? Because
that's what it is. I don't know how to tell you. I just know what it is.
Okay.
And this is a tutorial of how to do it.
Let's see. Here we go. So here's a list of all of the custom defines for Betaflight. And we can search for 42688. And is that it? That's use ACC 42688P. That's the only one with the 42688.
Well, you need
and use gyro 42688. Is that right?
Correct. You don't use the use, but yes, other than that, yeah, because when you put it in the defines.
Okay, so there's two defines. One is use gyro SPI ICM 42688, and one is use ACC 42688. You get those two defines. So you identify the gyro, ICM 42688, you go to the list of defines, and you find that define in the list. And then you would, hang on, I'm going to flash this just because I'm curious what's going on with my flight controller. But are we flashing? We're not in DFU mode. Screwed you. But then what you would do is here you would put those defines. You don't have to type use. Gyro underscore SPI underscore whatever it is. 42688. You can't put the use. Yeah. The use is optional.
So I'll say that works for other boards. Is there a space between them?
Yeah, with space. It says you don't put the use prefix. I think you can.
Oh, also, we can't see that part of the screen.
Oh, I'm so sorry. You're right. Use ACC SPI. So there you would put it like that. Hang on, I'll zoom back in. You would put in the custom defines gyro underscore SPI ICM 42688P. You don't want the use. I think it doesn't care if you have the use or not. We pick our protocol, and then that will add the defines for that gyro. And if that doesn't work, then the flight controller is fine because it works on 4.5.
No. Okay, so there's another issue. Okay, so that's a general issue that I've seen on multiple flight controllers by other people. I don't know why that's happening, but you have to include the gyro. Now, in this specific flight controller, if you look in the Discord, there's a linked issue report from GitHub for this specific flight controller. And it's something about the way the target works in the newer version. There is a fix. If you scroll down, there's a fix in the CLI.
Woof.
So you got to go past the bug report. And there's a big
working firmware directly from HGLRC.
Scroll up. There you go.
There is the fix. Yeah. Oh, so there's a resource assignment that's wrong.
Sounds like it.
Uh-huh.
But just so you know, this may be a separate issue than that.
So the answer is that the firmware was fucked up, which was my second.
Correct.
So here is working firmware directly from HGLRC. So there you go. And it at least fixes the gyro.
This guy said neither of those worked, but the gyro fix, the resource worked.
The resource fix worked. Okay, great. So it turns out in this case that it was not the custom includes. The gyro defines were correct. That wasn't the issue, although that is a thing one could do to fix this. But it was again, HGLRC screwed up the target. And there you go.
Well, it sounds like, there was some change in the new version that needs change.
Let's see if I can flash my stupid flight controller. Why did it say gyro not found? That's weird.
So Chrome reports that happens on 4.5 as well, the define needing. For some reason, like a board he has specifically, when he flashes it, it will not it will not like detect the gyro unless he includes the custom defines. And he thinks it's a cloud build issue because it's happening across multiple versions.
Is it
But
happening
just so
across
you know,
multiple boards?
I'm not sure about that.
Let's see if it happens to mine. Like this JBF7 showed no gyro, which really surprises me because I'm sure I just flashed it during a live stream once. Let's check that, and then, yeah. All right, thank you guys for helping sort that out. That's nice.
Okay. Can we talk about a thing that people are freaking out about real quick?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Is it sandwich related?
It is not sandwich related. So if you look in the Discord again,
I don't know then. Yeah.
There's a link from Andrew on a GitHub. If you'll open that.
Okay, hold on. This is fucked up. I just flashed Betaflight 2025.12.1, JBF7 flight controller, and gyro none. Is that a thing? Is that what Crom is talking about?
It could be. Yeah, I mean, that's the same symptom.
That's fucked up, man. That's fucked up. That is wildly fucked up. So adding these includes would fix that then. Hold on. Because if there's a broader issue, that's ICM 20602 gyro. I wonder if there's a way for me to know if this is an older board. Does it have a 20602? I can't imagine. I think it has dual gyro. Okay, I don't know if I'm going to dive into that on this stream. Jesus Christ. Okay. All right, anyway. Go ahead, Plenty. 2602. I gotta know.
Oh, we don't need to do that.
I gotta know. I'm sorry. I'm genuinely just curious. I'm genuinely just curious if this fixes it. Is it, is it SPI? Which is it, Brunty? SPI?
Should be SPI. As far as I know, they're all on SPI.
Why does this exist then?
I don't have an answer. I'm just telling you what I know.
Okay. And then some of them are hardware clocked now. That may be what's done this, is Betaflight added hardware clocking to the gyros. And that may have meant that some shit needs to be redefined. I don't know. Oh, I left the U's in. Is that going to break it? It pisses me off that it doesn't remember. Oh, good, it did remember. It doesn't remember these settings when you disconnect the flight controller. Like these settings under other options, it doesn't remember. Apparently it does remember the custom defines, so whoopity-doo. But it pisses me off that it doesn't remember the settings for the build configuration. That's frustrating. I see people talking about bricking gyros. No, it's still not working. Holy shit. Okay, well that didn't fix it. Still says gyro none. Anyway, okay, I won't fuck with this any longer. I wanted to show, oh look, that worked. See? But it didn't. So now I don't know what to show. Go ahead, Plenty. Let's talk to me about the next part. The next thing.
Okay, so you want to do this first?
No, I don't want to do this on stream.
Okay.
Select, what is this? What is this bullshit? No, load firmware online. No, go ahead. What do you want to talk about? Go. Where is it? There's a
Okay,
link.
so if you scroll up in the Discord, Andrew has a link. Yes, click that link from
This
Andrew,
link
please.
here. Okay.
Yes. So basically, there is a new gyro that's being used that's not approved by Betaflight.
Mm-hmm.
And it's causing issues. And I guess you should just know that Beta FPV and Happy Model are shipping boards with these gyros.
Of course.
Yeah,
And
I'm
then
not sure
how
how
do
it's
you
working.
how
People
do
are talking
you
about
how do
working.
you? But the Betaflight devs have rejected it. So how do you flash those flight controllers? You don't.
Correct. Yeah, I mean, I don't know that there's a
You
solution for that.
you get the firmware from them, and then fuck you.
Yeah, they've added one of the gyros, but not the other one.
Okay. But of course, they're shipping because people ship firmware on pre-release. People ship hardware with pre-release firmware on the assumption that it will get approved. So customers have these flight controllers. The flight controllers have these gyros, and now Betaflight doesn't support the gyros anymore. So the people who have these flight controllers will never be able to flash a version of Betaflight ever again. Is the takeaway?
Oh yeah, one of them is getting support, and the other is not getting support. And they ship them without figuring out that they could get approved. You know what I mean? That's the
Yeah,
issue.
of course they did. Of course they did. They
Yeah.
shipped them before they were final, as you do. And then the devs were like, "Sorry, we don't believe this hardware is worth using." So theoretically, they could build support in the Happy Model, and Beta FPV could, but they probably won't. The customers, I mean, I don't know for sure, but my guess is that the customers who have this hardware will just be stuck, and maybe they'll be able to download a version of Betaflight 2012 2026 2025.12.1 or something, and that's just it. That's all they get forever.
Right.
Okay. How do you know if you have one of those? Or how would you know not to buy one of those?
I mean, I would hope they list. I mean, a lot of boards are listed, right? So you want to look for this LSM 6DSV16X, but I'm not really sure. As far as I know, the only people shipping them are Beta FPV and Happy Model. The Holy Bro is what the GitHub link is for, but I don't know that they've shipped on with those yet. I think they were just updating the configuration.
Yeah. Here is a link. Due to shortage of IMU chip, I mean, it's funny because the 42688 was already like a fallback option, has found new IMU chips and built compatible firmwares. They meet all of our strict quality standards. Betaflight has not yet released official firmwares and will not.
Yeah,
apparently.
so just to be clear, the 320X will be supported. The 16X will not be because it is not accurate enough for Betaflight.
Right. Here is a list of firmwares. So 2026-04-17. I don't know what
Just to be
that's
clear.
2026.6.0. That's a pre-release version of Betaflight. Is it even in release candidate? Is 2026.6 in release candidate yet? Uh-oh.
Just to be clear, they're shipping new bind and flies with these.
Right.
Part of the,
Yeah.
Just remember that if you order a Beta FPV quad, you might get one of these gyros.
Yep. And then you can only use this firmware. Where is the... Oh. Oh, cute. Okay. I'm actually happier about this. Oh, no, sorry. I thought it was... No. Sorry, that's just the Betaflight. I thought for a minute that Beta FPV released their own build of the configurator with their custom firmware in it, which I would kind of be like, okay, as long as you're going to do it, let people have it. Matrix. Okay, where is it? What? Okay, it's not there. I see. I just download the hex file. So I can download this hex file, which is Betaflight 2026.6.0. It's a pre-release version of Betaflight. And, basically, if you don't like that, F you. That's a bummer. Okay. Fun. Stop. People should stop releasing hardware on unapproved firmware. Like, duh.
Yeah, and in that statement there, it says the next several batches in mass production will have that 16x gyro that is not supported by Betaflight. So just be aware of that.
Well, there you go. That's the world that we live in. KitKat0981, thank you for a $7 super chat. I have a Radiomaster Pocket and I'm training on liftoff. I'm thinking the Meteor 75 P1 with VR4 HD. Anything else you recommend for a newbie in Canada below 250 grams? Well, does the Meteor 75 P1 come with that gyro we were just talking about? I kind of want a BLT now. I'm like in the back of my brain wants bacon. I believe I have in the house right now bacon, lettuce, and tomato. You know what I don't have is I don't have bread. I don't have bread right now. Fuck. I was like, I'm gonna go up after this chat and I'm gonna make a BLT, and I can't because I don't have bread. Sad. My life is bad. Oh, Matrix 3-in-1 flight controller. What gyro does it have? Oh no, you're okay. 42688 PP. Nope. Okay, you're good to go. Oh, no, wait. Oh, that's okay. The BMI 270 is fine as well. Nope, it sounds like you're okay. Okay, yeah, that's a fine choice. The P1 video system has a little bit of latency issues compared to some of the others, but it's okay, especially for a beginner. I think that that's a fine choice. And the price, obviously, is very, very good. So I would not steer you away from any of that. Yeah. Anything else you would recommend? Yeah, you got the Radiomaster Pocket. Got the the P1 and the VR04 goggles. Like, there's a lot of compromises with any low cost FPV system. The box goggles, like the fit may not be ideal, but ultimately I think what you get for the price is fair, and they can give a good experience to somebody, especially somebody just getting started in FPV. CTX Drone Services, thank you for a $10 super chat. Brand new Mobula 8 RSSI minus 100 right on top of it. Okay, that's wrong. You should have an RSSI DBM around minus 40 to minus 60 when you're right on top of it, so that your antenna is screwed up. Antennas are all fine. No, they're not. They're not. So you have to do process of elimination. Sorry, that was me. Process of elimination. Do all your drones have this problem? If yes, then it's your controller. If no, then it's the drone. The antenna on that drone is broken, or the radio on that drone is broken, but that's just it. That's what it is. Period. So there you go.
Also, I'll say obvious stuff like, well, I don't know if LBT and FCC will bind at all, but make sure both things are on FCC or instead of one being on LBT. Make sure you're on the right frequency, though that won't matter as well because this won't bind with the Express LRS. So that's a crossfire problem.
Yeah. No, I mean, if you're 1 meter away and you're at minus 100 RSSI DBM, I don't know what that could be other than a broken antenna or a damaged amplifier or a damaged. It's just damaged hardware. I think. But yeah. Hey, guess what? We caught up on the super chats. Yeah. Nice. People are mad that I didn't push him towards analog instead of the P1 system. That's fair. I mean, you absolutely could go analog instead. I think that somebody who, having flown the P1 system, I think that it is acceptable, especially for a beginner who isn't going to do a ton of like hardcore freestyle yet. I think that once you start moving faster in proximity, it hits its limit. And if there's a reason to steer beginners away, it would be that a beginner isn't going to know that the latency is the reason he sucks. A beginner is going to start out slow, be impressed with the range and image quality, and then as the beginner gains more confidence and starts pushing the drone, he will eventually hit the wall and not be able to get any better because the latency sucks. And he won't know that's why. He'll just think he sucks. And then as soon as he tries something with better latency, like analog, he'll be like, oh my God, this is so much better. So the chat is right. Who was that? That was KitKat. KitKat, the chat is right that if you care about that kind of thing, then analog's the way you should go. But the flip side is with analog, you will be very unimpressed with the image quality and the range and penetration will suck. And so I wouldn't discourage somebody. Like, it's like when I bought my car years ago. I've talked about this on stream before. For about the same price, I could get the EcoBoost Mustang fully upgraded with leather seats and the digital dash, all the cruise control, the automatic cruise control with the lane keeping. I could get the fully upgraded EcoBoost, or for about the same price, I could get the base V8. Now, any car purist would say that the base V8 is clearly the right choice, and I got the EcoBoost, and I maintain to this day that was the right decision. For who I am as a person and what I do with the car, that was the right decision. And I could see somebody saying, for who I am as a pilot, I would rather have the P1 system. I would rather have the good image quality and the good range and penetration with the shitty latency over the shitty image quality and shitty penetration with the good latency. That'll make me a great pilot. Again, the real kicker will be that you won't know what you're missing and you'll just think you're a terrible pilot when really the video system is holding you back. And it is holding you back, so that has to be acknowledged. That's fair.
I will say, recently there is a big pushback against latency that I think is unfounded and ridiculous. So
because of Niels Vo.
I think that's part of where this is. Yeah, I think that's part of where this is coming from.
That's interesting. Let's talk about that.
I don't know if we have enough. Okay, how late do you want to go?
Oh God, it's 2200. Okay, we won't go too much later. Why? Do you have a hard stop?
Let's see. This will take an hour.
This won't take an hour. I promise. I got to find the video. Niels Vo did a cool thing. He did a cool thing. I tested the actual impact of latency. This is cool. I've wished that someone would do this for a long time. He changed his simulator. By the way, Niels Vo is the developer of the Zone simulator. He added the ability to add latency inside the simulator with software. Very cool. So you take the latency of the USB joystick and the screen, and that's your base latency, and then it just adds a fixed amount of latency to that. And then he ran the same track, basically the same freestyle run, with different amounts of latency. Now, you could go watch the results. You could decide whether you agree or disagree with his results. I think there's arguments both ways, and in the interest of not talking about this for an hour, we won't go into it. But I just think it's cool that someone did this, and I'm always happy to see someone trying to advance science and data, even if I don't necessarily fully agree with their conclusions or their methods. But
right, I think the problem is it's very easy to collect data. It's very hard to draw the correct conclusions from data. That's my point.
So what he did, we'll talk about that, Blunty. I want to hear what your thoughts are. But basically what he did is he added latency and he ran he made a track. So it was racing, but it was a track with freestyle elements, I guess. And what he found was that with less latency, he got better times on the track. Up to a point. Basically, it tapered off at a certain point. There was so much latency, it didn't really matter. And what he found was that even a tiny amount of latency, like going from 6 milliseconds to 5 milliseconds or 4 milliseconds, made a significant difference. About 15%, he said. 15% slower on a track. And he says, well, does 15% even matter? Here's a little bit of him running the track. So yes, this looks like racing, but you can see it has freestyle elements. And freestyle, like how are you going to quantify this except by, putting yourself on the clock, I guess. His argument is that freestyle is just racing where you're trying to hit a gap or do a trick, that if you're faster at racing, you'll be better at freestyle. I think there's some truth to that.
I think that's completely wrong. I think
that's completely wrong?
100% wrong. Yes, it's 100% wrong.
Tell me about it.
Nobody gives a shit how fast you freestyle. That's not what it's about. It has nothing to do with anything. Your proximity is how much you feel like you're close to it. You're flying the line. You're subjectively experiencing it. You can't say an objective time is better because you're flying freestyle. It's called freestyle, not fixed style, not set style, not how fast can I get around the corner style.
But isn't the argument
ways to fly a drone? Arguing that just faster on a racetrack means you're always better at freestyle is completely incorrect.
I guess the argument is that you are, like, look at the freestyle he's doing here. The argument is, he does a very precise and technical form of freestyle, right? He doesn't do, like, I could make an argument that Spang is in an open field, right? Now, Spang pilots are very precise, but if a Spang pilot misses a line by 10 feet, he doesn't crash into a tree, right? He's not in a bando like this. I feel like for the kind of freestyle that Nils does, which we're seeing on screen right now, you could make an argument that precision is key. And the same precision that makes you able to hit the apex of a turn accurately is a make or break on your ability to do this stuff without crashing. What do you think?
I think that's not how the video was presented.
Okay, that's fair. The video was presented, therefore, lower latency is better always.
Correct. He didn't say this is the best for my flying style and exactly how I fly and tight freestyle that goes around corners at this speed and all that kind of stuff. It is nothing new. We've tested for years and years and years and known that racing is better with lower latency. Racers can detect latency. We've seen many tests with this. We know that's the case, right? Small variances of latency matter for a racer. But you measuring an objective number around a racetrack is not the same as a subjective experience of a freestyle pilot flying a line. It is not equatable. That's my 2 cents. You're drawing a conclusion from data that doesn't exist, right? Because you're not measuring a subjective experience, and that's what matters when you're flying freestyle. It doesn't matter how close I got to an object. It doesn't matter it matters how I felt when I flew the line. Could I fly the line that I wanted to fly or not? That's the way I think about it.
Yeah.
And that's not measured here.
Hey, do me a favor. What video system is on this drone? Can you tell from I believe that's an 04. Yeah, 2 antennas back there. Nobody would dispute that Vanover's an amazing freestyle pilot. This particular drone, he doesn't seem to be doing anything particularly technical. DJI 04 Pro FPV freestyle review. Here we go. This video was flown on the, I don't remember if it was the 03 or the 04, but flown on DJI. Oh, yep, there he is. DJI goggles. The reason I point this out is Vanover is 1,000% a top racing pilot. Fast, technical, precise, no one would dispute that. And he chooses DJI for his freestyle. Now, I won't presume to know why, but I will say that I absolutely think Vanover would be slower as a racer if he was flying DJI. We know that. That's basically an established fact. One thing I see with freestyle, though, is that he has the freedom to set the line up. He has the freedom. No one cares, as you say, Blunty, no one cares if he finishes this freestyle run 0.2 seconds faster. So when he does a trick, he has all the time in the world to set the trick up. He has all day to practice the lines and know the setup for the line, right? And then he does it one time. And I assure you, when he did this, I don't think I was there for this day, but I've been at this. I think it was for his first one. I'm not sure. But I won't promise that I was there for this day, but I'll say I've been there on days like this. And what happens is he's trying all day working on these tricks, and then he gets one good clean line, no crashes, and he's like, that's the one. Not that he couldn't do it again. He could do it again and he might crash 3/4 of the way through, or he might miss one of the tricks. But like, he gets the perfect line that he's happy with, and that's what he posts to the internet. So the point is that he has all the time in the world to practice, and he only has to get it perfect once. And no one cares how big of a jump he takes trying to set that up. No one cares if he swings a little bit wide out of this tree, right? All he has to do is hit the trick. And everybody is amazed and impressed. Does the trick like this take precision? Fuck yes. It does. Would he be better at that trick with lower latency? All he has to do is be good enough to hit it. That's the thing. Whereas with racing, every little 0.5% faster you are gets you higher on the leaderboard. Until at the top of the leaderboard, it's all about those fractions of a percent. Whereas with freestyle, you only have to be good enough to hit the trick. And I think that, does latency make a difference? Sure, but you have a lot more. I think the point you might be making, Blenty, is that you have a lot more ability to compensate for that higher latency when you're doing freestyle.
Yeah, the video questions, does latency matter for freestyle? And the conclusion of the video doesn't answer that question. It answers, does it matter for racing? And the answer is yes. We've known that for a long time. That's my 2 cents about this. I don't, and a lot of people in the chat may be new or don't understand, like, this is how I normally talk about stuff. I'm not mad. I'm just upset because people come in other chats and parrot this information. That's one of the issues with videos when you put out a video in a hobby, right? Is that people look at what you say and then take it as fact, even if it doesn't matter if they do critical thinking or not. It gets parroted somewhere. And so, like, I'm a little upset because this gets parroted a lot, just generally speaking. Like, latency matters for freestyle. Watch this video, I guarantee it. But it's not drawing, to me, it's not drawing the correct conclusions.
Right. Nobody, so, I don't think, well, maybe you are. I don't think anybody should be mad at Niels Vo for releasing this video. What he's saying is not completely without basis. It's not so far outside the pale that it'd be like, this is irresponsible. Like, would it be better if he had phrased it a little differently? Maybe. The thing is, he makes a claim, somebody comes with a counterclaim, and people are like, what the real problem is, people watch Niels Vo's video, he is pushing in a certain direction, and he's pushing in a direction that is novel. He's saying, hey, latency matters, everybody, more than you think it does. And then people who maybe haven't considered the counter arguments are just like, this is gospel. And that's the part that, like, pisses you off the most, I think.
Yeah, it's because the video doesn't come to a conclusion for certain types of freestyle, or it doesn't leave it open-ended to me. It goes like, well, I did these tests and I could look how it matters in this, and look how it matters in this, and look how it matters in this. So obviously latency matters for freestyle. Like that's what the video is. And then, to me, that's the problem. But it is what it is. People can make the videos they want to make. I think it's a well-made video that comes to a conclusion that I don't agree with. Yeah.
The other thing is, how much does image quality matter for freestyle? The ability, like, now Niels Vo, he flies analog. He knows this entire site like the back of his hand, right? He could probably fly it practically blind. Probably not literally blind. So, yes, does latency matter? Yes. Does the ability to actually see where you're going matter? Yes. I definitely have flown in situations where the ability to discern obstacles as you were moving was more significant than the latency of the control link. The latency of the control link was maybe 25 milliseconds. It wasn't like, obviously there's a point where it becomes, not worth it. But I would rather have had DJI and I could see every little branch and twig, as opposed to analog, and I would have to slow down because it all just looked like a blur. Excuse me.
I just want to say, like, I hate sometimes, it's been a while since we've streamed, and chat is just so annoying sometimes.
Oh, is it?
When nobody is talking about extremes, folks. I'm not saying latency doesn't matter. Nobody, you haven't heard the conversation that's happened here. If you took away that latency doesn't matter, okay?
Nobody is saying
here,
that. Nobody's saying that.
Nobody has said that at all. It's not a statement that's been made. Nobody says latency doesn't matter. Nobody says latency matters for everything. All that I'm saying is that what we've seen is a test that tests whether racing matters for latency, and we've known that for a long time.
Yeah.
Okay? If you have lower latency, it might be easier to fly. But remember, that's not the only factor. Like Bardwell just talked about, there's an image quality factor. That matters. There's a cost factor. That matters. There's a what I want to build on my drone factor. That matters. There's a pleasure to fly based on the goggles factor, right? There's more than just latency that matters. So maybe lower latency is always better, but there are trade-offs we can make in this hobby. It's not absolute. So just be clear about that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. Well, like we said, we don't want to talk about this for an hour, and I think the points have been made. I do think it's nice to have somebody doing new testing and pushing data out there, and whether we agree with the conclusions or not, the existence of the data, and the ability to generate our own data. Like I would be interested to come up with a freestyle focused way of testing this. I don't know what that would be. But like it would have to be something precise. Otherwise, like the latency matters in your ability to place the drone precisely.
The problem is when you're again, this is the issue with data. Okay. The issue is, what are you actually testing? Because to me, the only thing that matters is a subjective experience of the freestyle pilot, right? And that isn't testable because, like you said, Vanover, for instance, flies same thing 100 times. But another freestyle pilot might go to a spot they've never been to and want to be flying perfectly there the first time, right? Like there's all these factors that matter for a person, right? If I'm used to my drone, then I'm going to be more comfortable with it. So trying to test that double blind doesn't work because I haven't learned the comfort of the latency of my drone.
Yeah, for sure. And you get used to the latency. So if you raise the latency, you're going to immediately fly worse, but you'll probably get better as you take more reps.
Which I would also argue kind of goes into the Nilsvo comparison testing where you're switching latency on the fly. But again, this is just data. I'm not saying it's bad. There's just a lot of factors here, and I think the real answer is subjective is what matters, and that's why this isn't really testable in this way. We can get a bunch of data, we can draw some conclusions, and yes, lower latency is better. We've known that, but
that's
in most
interesting
cases, it doesn't matter that much.
That's the interesting thing is there's no question that if you could have lower latency with no other trade-offs, then obviously you would take it, and you would probably fly better as a result. But the question is, the trade-off is, cost. No, that's not true. The cost is inverse. Scratch that. The trade-off is that you get better image quality and better range and penetration. And how do you quantify the balance of the latency could be better, but goddamn, I can actually fly where I want to fly and see where I'm going. And Niels's point is that latency dominates. And I think your point is that that's not true for everybody. So many pilots weren't even aware that latency matters. Well, if that's true, then thank you, Nils, for raising the awareness that it matters. But I do agree with Blunty that it's not the only consideration that makes you a good pilot. And the fact that there are excellent pilots flying freestyle on DJI is all you need to know. So, anyway, let's go ahead and wrap it up. Thank you for sticking around past the normal finishing time, Blenty. We have one more super chat from eCast FPV. Thank you for a $1 donation. We will be back this Sunday, Monday, etc. Go to the channel, YouTube, my YouTube channel. Go to the... if you go to my channel, and then you... nice. And then you go to live, you can see a list of upcoming live streams and get notifications for them. I will be scheduling a few more this week. We will be in town for about a month, and then I'm gone for about 2 weeks and then back again. So we should have a nice little stretch of consistent live streams. That'll be really fun. That is going to do it for tonight, though. Thank you guys for coming out. Bye, everybody.
Bye.